Honestly, I don't even know if I can get my you-know-what together today. Hey y'all, welcome to the Suburban Stitcher podcast. My name is Diane and today is November 26th, 2018. It is just 2018 for a little over a month. I cannot believe it. Where did this year go? We're past American Thanksgiving. We are into the Christmas season. Houses are decorated, lights are up. Cha-ching. Thank you to whoever just made a purchase. I don't know if you heard that. Let me turn that off. That was amazing. I feel like I want to give a shout out to whoever just made a purchase because you just made me happy. Amber, maybe I shouldn't say your last name. Amber, thank you so much. Okay, so for real, today is November and it is starting to get cool. It's really probably too cold for me to be wearing short sleeves, but I start podcasting and I get hot, and I wanted to show off this beautiful shawl that I am excited to get to wear. This is my Suburban wrap. This is in the blue color set that I put out at the same time that Ho-He put out the original colors. I offered an alternate colorway for those who were not into pinks and blacks. And so this one uses three colors that I developed right when it came out, which are Ballard is this kind of greenish yellow. It's actually a yellowy green. That's a better description. It's a yellowy green. The blue is called Clean Slate, and this grayish blue natural is called Overcast. And I love it. I have it wrapped around and tied today. It's the perfect length for that. And yes, it's so nice and cozy to have today because it's in the 50s here in Texas, where I am in Texas. So perfect shawl weather. And when I'm done podcasting, I will grab a cardigan or a sweatshirt because I'm not fancy. Okay, so I do have some announcements. It's almost like I've never podcasted before. I have announcements. I have knit along winners. I have so many exciting things. So the first thing that I need to announce is the Get Suburban hashtag knit along for this time. The winner for this episode is post number 51. That is Rachel D on Ravelry. She knit a Suburban wrap. Interestingly enough, that was not planned, but it's totally perfect. She knit it in the original black, pink, and white color set. And let's see, yeah, post number 51, Rachel D. And you are going to win a copy of the brand new pattern by Victoria Zakanowicz. It's called Penny Pearls, and it is a circular yoke, very simple top-down cardigan that with some positive ease. It's kind of a boat neck because it is that circular yoke, and it looks so cozy and lovely. So if you will contact me, Rachel D, I will have Victoria send that pattern over to you, and I will have shown you all of these pictures here on the screen. So thank you so much for the pattern donation, and thank you, Rachel, for your participation in our knit along. For those of you who are new to the podcast, I do want to explain the Get Suburban knit along. It is a knit along that will run until I just get sick of announcing winners for any project that uses 50% or more of Suburban Stitcher yarn can be entered to win a prize. They are always pattern prizes, and I like to give away patterns that are donated to the podcast by designers that want to do pattern giveaways. So if you are a pattern designer, I'm getting low to the queue on my patterns that people have donated to the podcast to give away. So if you are a designer and would like to give away a pattern, please let me know, and I would be happy to put you in the queue to have your pattern featured here on the podcast. Like I said, that's ongoing. I'll keep giving away patterns as long as we have people that want to donate them. Or until I just decide that I've had enough of that, which is never, because it's amazing. I love looking at your projects. The second knit along that I finally am going to announce a winner for that is over, but we're still cheering each other along in the Ravelry group, which, by the way, is Suburban Stitcher Podcast on Ravelry. If you go search for that, there is all things knit along related. Sometimes I remember to put episode threads in there. Sometimes there's just random things. There is a enable me thread. So if you are a maker and you want to share your shop, if you have a sale going on or a new product, you want to enable other Suburban Stitcher podcast viewers, then go ahead and pop that into that thread and other people can see what you're making and what you're selling. Okay, so back to this giveaway. The Birds of a Feather shawl knit along has ended officially. So I'm gonna announce the winner, and this was a participation prize. I did random number generator. Post number 14, who was horribly limited, is the winner, and she knit a Fool's Gold by Hedgehog version of the Birds of a Feather shawl. It's absolutely amazing. I want to steal it from her, and congratulations. Please get in contact with me because I am going to be mailing you a Mrs. Brown's Notions bag. So this is, I don't know what fabric this is. I'm not going to take it out of the little package just because it's ready to go and easy. But it is a Notions pouch out of her knit fabric. I don't know what the yarn is, like I said. I want to say this is a Sugar Tots one. Sugar Tots yarn, but anyway, I have several of these knitting pouches, and it is the most amazing size. You could fit a one sock project, like if you just had one sock that you were working on, you could totally fit it in this. I have 2 or 3 different ones that I have filled with various notions in my knitting bags. They're absolutely amazing, and I traveled with it, and it was amazing. So congratulations, horribly limited. And message me with your address and everything on Ravelry, and I will get this out to you. Okay, let me put this over here. Where can I put this so it doesn't get lost? Okay. Also, I would like to announce that it is past Thanksgiving, before Christmas, which means it is bold lip season for Suburban Stitcher. Because apparently that's a thing. Apparently when it gets to be the Advent time lead up to Christmas, I only want to be seen with a bold lip. So you're welcome. Something about it for me. I can't help it. It seems to be July. July I like a bold lip, and December. I don't really, yeah, again, I have no explanations as to why those 2 specific months, but anyway. Okay, I do not have any finished objects this week. One of the reasons that I was so just ridiculously behind in podcasting is because I kept thinking, I'll finish something. I didn't even come close. Well, I can't say I didn't come close, but it didn't finish anything, which is just fine. I've been working on what I want to work on. I have not been stressing out about my knitting. I have not been putting any pressure or anything on myself. I am knitting what I want to knit when I want to knit it, which is absolutely amazing. I've recklessly cast on some things, which you'll see. And yeah, I'm kind of in a groove with my knitting right now, which is really fabulous. And not always the case, right? Sometimes we put too many rules or pressure or whatever. I'm going to try to stop playing with my hair, but quite honestly, it's so long that it's just impossible not to mess with it. But I don't want to tie it back because then sometimes that feels weird. Okay, my first whip is my Glow-Tide shawl. Again, this is in my Bed of Roses bag. Bed of Roses on Etsy, who is an amazing maker out of Norway. And I am so close. Oh, so close. Okay, so this is Glow-Tide by Isolde Teague. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Not really sure. I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong. But this was her mystery knit along from the summer that I messed up on, and then I had to rip back, and then I restarted it, and it's going swimmingly now, and I'm so close to the finish line. So you start off by knitting like this half and then this half, and then you join them together and you knit in the round to a point in the middle. So it's like a square. Screenshot. So it's looking really good. I love, you can definitely see the color fade today. My lighting is a lot better. I'm podcasting during the day on a sunny day with lots of light, and it's beautiful outside. Okay, so I don't really know much to say about this. I will show you the yarn. I definitely should have this finished by the next podcast. The yarn I'm using is La Bien Aimée. It was designed specifically, that was exclusive colors just for this knit along. I don't remember the colorways, but it was dyed to be a gradient. So this lightest color is this one. It's like, oh no. I know the color names are Flora, Doe, and Fauna. And I know that the middle one is Doe, D-O-E. But I don't remember, maybe this one is Flora and this one is Fauna, but I could be wrong. So there's the three colors. These two I'm totally done with. You can see it uses really all but how many grams? I've got a scale right here. I've got 18 grams left of that middle one, and 19 or 20 grams left of this one. There probably was another gram or so left of this one, but I had to cut some out, and when I had to rip it out. So yeah, so 20 grams left on both of these, which is great. And then I'm still using this one, so it's not, it would be kind of ridiculous to weigh it. But anyway, good yarn usage, I would say. These will go into I have a bucket full of single ply leftovers, and yeah, one of these days I actually need to make a project with all of my single ply leftovers. I keep saying that and I never do, but I need to, because I have some beautiful ones. Okay, so that is Glow-Tide. I'm really excited to be getting a lot closer with it. Yeah. I pretty much work on this only at home, and it's kind of my nighttime, like when I'm sitting in bed and I'm kind of done with the day and I'm just sitting and knitting and watching podcasts or shows, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. This is what I work on because it's garter stitch. Even the textured sections are very simple. It's been, now that I'm back on track with the count, it's a lot easier to keep track of. So yeah, that's just kind of my nighttime zone out project. Okay, so the next work in progress that I have is my beach grass socks. I can't remember where these were the last time I've showed them, because I don't even think I showed them last week, but I have the first one done. This is Beach Grass by Joji Locatelli. I only did the texture on the leg, and I have done the leg and the heel on the second sock, and I just have the foot. And so these will go back into my purse for my purse knitting and travel knitting. Now that I am sitting in carpool lines again every day, that school is back in session, I theoretically should be able to finish these relatively quickly, maybe this week as well. So gosh, wouldn't that be great for me to have 2 finished objects next time? I am knitting these out of Suburban Stitcher yarn in that old chestnut colorway, which is a reddish brown with lots of different tones and speckles and beautiful tonal bits. So my next work in progress is a new one. My last 2 work in progresses. Is that how you say that? Progresses. My next 2 work in progresses are both new. Which, this isn't a witch. This is just I feel the need to mention this. I got this when Rifle Paper Company website was running a sale. It's Corksicle, but with Rifle Paper Company design on it. And I have determined, I used to love those big old Yetis and like Arctic glasses that are like the big huge ones. This is the perfect amount for me, hot or cold. It's not so big that like my hands don't fit around it. I don't need to carry around 64 ounces of a liquid at any given time, because I'm not going to drink all of it ever in like enough to where I would need to carry it all around. And yeah, so I'm sure they're running Cyber Monday sales. If this is still up today, or if this goes up today and you watch it today, then maybe you can catch a Cyber Monday sale. But yeah, unpaid advertising, but I really like this product. Okay, so let's move on. That was a minute of waxing poetic about a cup. Oh my gosh, seriously. Okay, next work in progress. Also, I think this probably is technically a Hello Lovely because I don't think I had it last time and I super love it. It is my fringe supply bag exclusive from Wool and Honey. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. Love it, love it so much. Okay, so I cast on in the Blame Dunder Knit, or Dunder Knit Made Me Do It, or whatever the official knit along is. I haven't put it on Instagram. I need to go back and add the hashtag. But I decided that since she was giving me permission, I recklessly cast on something that I've been thinking about yarn-wise and pattern-wise for quite a while. And that is the, I just totally forgot. Vertices Unite. Vertices Unite by Stephen West, and I am knitting it out of all one yarn color, and there is going to be an asterisk behind that because maybe I might stripe in one color randomly every once in a while. But yeah, Vertices Unite out of Suburban Stitcher yarn. The yarn I'm using is John Snow. This is being knit on my pure sock base. So I hope you can see the color variation there. It's really, really pretty. Pure sock is 100% merino 4-ply. It's the exact same ply structure. Looks exactly the same as my sock yarn, my 75/25, but it just has no nylon in it. I'm not alternating skeins at this point. I said I was going to. I still may. These are pretty close, but it's done in sections, so maybe I'll like the extra variation of not. I don't know. I haven't decided. I don't know. So anyway, I'm still in the first section. It is so slow going. I feel like also I'm knitting the large size, which is going to be great for having a big, huge shawl. And it's going to be very wearable for me. I really prefer big shawls and styling big shawls. But I'm quite certain my gauge is tighter than his, because I just feel like this is not as big as it looks in the pattern for what's happening here. So anyway, Yeah, so that's Vertices Unite. Oh, and this is the color, I said I was using Jon Snow. This is a particularly pale batch of Jon Snow, which is one reason that I kept it. It has a lot more gray in this version than the normal. Normally it's a little bit bolder. And I also caked up a skein of Nudie Patootie, which is honestly one of my favorite neutrals that I dye. It's kind of a peachy neutral with these little speckles. And I think it just is a nice contrast here. And like I said, I might do some little stripes or something, but I was inspired to knit this by my yarn store owner, Sharon, who she owns the Modern Skein. She is the Modern Skein on Instagram. She knit an all one color one. And then I found out the day before yesterday, she was inspired to knit it by the Espace Tricot ladies. One of those ladies knit an all one color version. And so I'm copying a copier is basically what that boils down to. My last work in progress is something that I started and I have not picked up in over a week, which is fine. I'll pick it up. But I started a pair of Galliano socks by Tracy Miller. I started them on Galliano Island, which I will talk about in a little bit. Yes, so as you all know, I don't typically knit pattern socks, and I'm really enjoying these so far. This is sort of a sneak peek of a Hello Lovely, but I am knitting this yarn out of I am knitting the yarn, but I'm knitting this pattern out of Mondum yarn. Let's see if I can get my words right. Mondum is this fun label with the little girl. Rosa Pomar, retrosaria.rosapomar.com. So I don't know what the actual brand is. I think Mondum is the base. It's color 110, and it's this beautiful kind of adobe rosy brown. It's kind of a adobe rosy pinky orange terracotta color. It's kind of awesome is what it is. It's just kind of awesome. So I really love this color. It is 100% wool, not superwash, no nylon, 100% Portuguese wool. That's what it says. Color number 110. Very inexpensive. In Canadian dollars, it was $16 Canadian, which is about $11.50 US where I bought it. So amazing. Yeah, so like I said, I just cast it on Galliano Island, which I will talk about in a little bit. So it was twisted ribbing, and I was sitting with Tracy, and boy, did I give her heck about that. 1x1 twisted ribbing is not my jam, but it sure is pretty, isn't it? And I have just completed one cable row and have done nothing since, because we got going on different things where we were, and this was not the thing that I could do because I was having to still read the chart. But I'm excited about these. I absolutely love the fabric that it's creating. Even though it's not superwash, like it's, I don't know, it's just very soft, and it's not merino necessarily, but it's soft and it feels like woolly, and it just feels like it's going to be a great pair of socks. I'm also kind of making sure to knit it at a gauge that's not going to get too, like a pretty tight gauge, so that it's not, hopefully will wear holes less quickly. But I don't wear holes in my socks because I don't wear socks often enough here. Anyway, it's also in a Mrs. Brown's bag, which makes me extra happy. Because it's the Grocery Girls all in one package. Okay, so that's it for my works in progress. I do have a few Hello Lovelies to talk about this week. My Mondum yarn, I actually purchased that from 88 Stitches, which is outside of Vancouver. It is way, which direction for you? Way east of Vancouver. And yeah, it's way east of Vancouver. It was a super far taxi ride. Super far taxi ride. Way further than I thought it would be. Okay, so I got that yarn. I also got, at this little retreat that I will tell you about in a minute, I got a skein of Sweater Weather yarns, which is dyed by Fiona of the Knit Social Ladies. And this is a naturally dyed line of yarn that she is doing. This is on her Equinox sock base, and it says walnut. And so I don't know if that's the name, if that's what she used to dye it. I would guess that she used walnuts to dye it. But it was just, and it says an MCN, 80% merino, 10% cashmere. This makes me smile so much. And she laughed when she said she did it. And I just think it's so endearing. It says 10% sock. It should be 10% nylon. But it's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% sock or nylon. I'm going to show you. It's so sweet. Look at that. 10% sock. Yeah, but it's just this gorgeous neutral. And would make a beautiful patterned or textured sock. Who am I? So that and the Mondum was all I bought on that trip, which was pretty amazing. I did win, I'm kind of going into my Hello Lovely of this trip that I will talk about. I did win a 3 skein set of Father, which is Yoth Yarn's Father in the poppy seed color, which is sort of a mossy grayish green, I would say. So that is that. It's a worsted weight. It is pretty pilly. Like this set looks already like it's pretty pilly. So I guess this will definitely have to be like a shawl or something, because if it's this pilly in a skein, it's going to be super pilly, as it would be very pilly as a garment. Not knit at the appropriate gauge, but I only have 660 yards, which is not enough for a garment anyway. Okay, so let's talk about this little trip that I went on. I didn't tell anyone that I was going, and it was a surprise, and then boom, I was in Canada again. I love Canada. That's all there is to it. I have been 3 times in the last year, and I'm already planning my next trip back. I cannot wait to go back, and I think I'm going to have to bring at least my husband, if not my whole family, when I go again. In all seriousness, my heart, a piece of my heart lives in that country now, and I love it. I know I will love all parts of it, and I have only been to British Columbia now twice, and Alberta once, and I just want to go see all the things. But the reason I was there this time is for a Knit Social retreat. Knit Social is the group of ladies that puts on, or the team duo of ladies that puts on Knit City every year. They host retreats a couple of times a year that are open to the public, and then this, when I went, was their first ever industry retreat, meaning designers, yarn dyers, podcaster, influencers. I was invited to go, and I was just so thrilled. I couldn't believe that I was asked to be in this amazing group of people. I was the only one from the US that was there. And it's such an important thing. And so this is if you are a business owner of any kind, but particularly in our business, because it's in our field, yarn, dyeing, creativity, whatever, because that's what I do, and so that's what I can relate to. It is so important to be out there in the public and to meet your customers, but it is potentially even more important to have working collaborations and working dialogues with your peers of business owners and creatives. This was just that. It was a retreat for people who are in our business, and it was a weekend that was not at a show, where we didn't have to be on, quote unquote, since most of us are, most makers, it seems like, have a definite piece of introvert in them. It was a way to just be Diane and to just be, who they were. I would be lying if I wasn't completely starstruck by so many of the people that were there that I got to hang out with. And that was just an amazing bonus. But it was great to get to know some of these people just as them, talk to them about their kids and about their real world lives, and sort of build connections as people and not even just as business owners. I tell people all the time, it's really such a treat when I get to go somewhere and just be Diane and not always have to be Suburban Stitcher, because Suburban Stitcher is amazing, but it's not all of who I am. And I started Suburban Stitcher as a way to sort of keep my own Diane identity. And oddly enough, now in some ways I have lost my Diane identity as Suburban Stitcher gets bigger. So this was amazing to get to do that. And I guess that's really all I have to say about it. But one of my favorite parts was we had a weaving workshop. I have never woven anything before. We had an amazing teacher who taught us how to weave a wall hanging and taught us all these different techniques. We came home with the loom, which is so amazing. These are these looms that are made in Canada by Woven Wood Goods. Beautiful loom. With all of the tools and things that we need to keep weaving, and a book of instructions, and I finished my wall hanging, you guys. Okay, so here it is. It was so inspiring to sit next to people who are all creative. We all knit and make and dye and design and do beautiful things, but to watch all of us doing something with the medium that we normally work with, which is roving and wool and textiles of some kind, but to use it in a different way and to explore color in a different way and texture. I absolutely loved it. So I kind of wish that I had put more fringe in other places, because I love fringe. I loved making these little puffy roving sections. This is t-shirt material. This is roving. This is recycled sari silk, which is this gorgeous magenta color. I just love it. So this will go on my wall somewhere. I'm very proud of this. It's rudimentary. It is such a beginner hanging, but I learned so much, and yeah, I'm very proud of this. It was a lot of fun. And it was exactly what I needed. It was a nice recharge of, I needed to recharge. I needed to do something creatively that wasn't, I haven't even opened this bag, you guys. How bad is that? Oh, it's a stitch marker. I needed to do something creatively with wool and with my hands that wasn't for work and that was just totally different. And this did that for me, and it was amazing. We got this tote bag, and then we got this moleskin custom printed knit social retreat. We got this little wooden stitch marker, and then we all got Knit City Toque enamel pens, which is maybe my new favorite enamel pen. So yeah, I could not have been more excited, more thrilled to have been a part of that. I took a ton of video, a ton of pictures. The place we stayed was amazing. It's the Galliano Inn and Spa on Galliano Island, right on the water, which the island is so small, everything's on the water. I feel like, anyway. We took the ferry from Vancouver over there. I took a seaplane back. Like, the amazing thing about this, and it feels a little strange to say, like I'm tearing up just thinking about it, but the fact that I get to do this for a living, and I'm literally traveling the world and meeting people that I have only ever dreamed of meeting, and seeing places that I didn't even know to dream about to see. It's amazing, and it's because of knitting. And anyway, thank you for allowing me to do this, because it fills me up so much and it makes me come back re-energized and re-excited to work that much harder for you. So thank you. Okay. One thing that I get asked a lot, and I'm always curious about what other people are doing, is what are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you watching? And so I've made a list of the things just in the last month or so that have kept me busy. Audiobooks, because I pretty much only listen to books these days because of work. And I still just have a really hard time reading and knitting at the same time. Anyway, so I just thought I would share some of the things that I have found really exciting and interesting lately. And if you have ones that you're watching or that you think I should be watching or listening or reading, then please leave them in the comments on YouTube or in the Ravelry thread or somewhere. I think it would be really great for us to inspire each other. So, books that I have listened to lately that I'm really loving. I've read 2 books that are female main character leads based around World War II. And the first one is called The Alice Network, and the second one is called The Lilac Girls. They are both amazing, so good, couldn't put them down, couldn't stop listening, super sad, super great. So those were really great. And then I also have been reading the Harry Bosch series by, is that Michael Connelly? I all of a sudden feel like it's not Michael Connelly, but the Harry Bosch, whoever writes the Harry Bosch series, it's a detective. And there is an Amazon series, Amazon Prime original that is Bosch. It's definitely like they've taken creative Hollywood licenses like you do, but the book series is amazing, and I'm sort of steadily working my way through those. Podcasts that I have enjoyed lately, I will start with 3 video podcasts that most of them are new-ish, less than a year old, some even just a month or 2 old. The Pearl Kitty podcast, I think she has 3 episodes out now. I've only watched the first 2 because the third one just came out, I just saw. Pearl Kitty is someone that I have followed on Instagram for a very long time because she knits amazing socks and takes beautiful pictures of them. And I love looking at her Instagram feed because it's beautiful and it's inspiring to me. And now she has a podcast where she's talking about all of her works in progress and her socks that she's knitting. So that is a fun one. Knitting Vicariously with Dunder Knit. I think everybody's watching this right now, but I discovered it a few weeks ago. I think she is so charming. I have recklessly cast on a shawl thanks to her. I just needed permission. And so thank you so much. So it's definitely one that you should watch. As she says in the beginning, it is a swear-friendly podcast. So if you do not want to watch a podcast where people curse, then it's definitely not the one for you. But it is very entertaining and fun. And then the last one is the Modern Skein podcast. Sharon, who is the owner of the Modern Skein north of Houston, Texas, has a podcast and she knits beautiful things. I would say she's more monogamous than me in that she probably only ever has 5 or 6 projects on the needles at once. And she's really good about plugging through with a project and sticking with it. So it feels, I think she is a fast knitter. She says she's not a fast knitter. I think she's a fast knitter, which is great. And she just knits and finishes a lot of amazingly beautiful things. She also perhaps is knitting one of the most beautiful things out of my yarn that I've ever seen. And so you should go watch her next podcast where I'm sure will talk about it, because I have a feeling by the time she does another podcast, it will be done. I'm so excited to see it. So those are video podcasts that I enjoy. They're all found on YouTube. And the audio podcasts that I listen to My Favorite Murder, like everyone else who listens to true crime. I listen to the Curious Handmade podcast with Helen Stewart, the Yarniacs, which is a podcast that has been around for quite a while. I remember when I first started listening to audio knitting podcasts, I tried listening to them, and if I'm being totally honest, I unsubscribed after maybe 2 or 3 episodes. And I think that the reason is that I was not a sweater knitter at that time, and they are huge garment knitters. And it wasn't something that I was knitting, and so it wasn't necessarily interesting to me, and I just didn't stick with it. Now that I want to knit all of the garments, and I just want to knit garments all the time, it's much more interesting to me. And so I've really, really enjoyed that podcast I think I picked it up sometime this year. But yeah, that's a really good one. They knit a lot of beautiful garments, a lot of beautiful shawls. They have a good back and forth banter and talking. I really enjoy it. And then a couple of other true crime podcasts that I listen to, Serial, and then the podcast Criminal, which is so interesting to me. And then shows that I am watching House of Cards currently, and 3 shows that I have just finished watching are Homecoming, which is so good. I just finished it last night. What I will say is that you must go through at the very, very end. There's all these credits. It's like 3.5 minutes of credits, like when the show's over, and you're like, wait a second, that's weird. You have to keep watching through the credits, because there's this little thing at the end of the credits that's kind of crucial to the whole thing. Like, you have to see it to tie all the things together. Anyway, and you would miss it, which is kind of weird that they did that. Like, who's going to watch it all the way to the end and do that? But anyway, it's really good. I watched Bodyguard, which was also amazing, and then Castle Rock, which has been out for a while, but it's very good. Okay, so I think that is it for all of the things that I wanted to talk with you about and share with you. And oh no, I didn't talk about these 2 things, and it's Hello Lovelies, but they're the loveliest of lovelies, and I feel like I want to make sure to show them. I was at the Modern Skein 2 days ago for Shop Small Saturday, and sitting and knitting, and I purchased the 2 newest publications from Pom Pom Press, which is Pom Pom Quarterly, the Nora Gone issue. Honestly, I kind of wish that being able to wear this thing in my real life would be acceptable. I just don't know that I am bold enough to wear this sweater, but it's stunning. This one that Nora Gone designed. I would totally wear the body of it. I would have to figure out a way to make the sleeves not like puffy Elizabethan sleeves. But if I could do sleek sleeves with this amazing cabled middle, it would be epic. The thing that I actually have even, like, I've spent a lot of time considering it, that I would absolutely wear is this one. It's called Nimue, I guess is how you say that, by Cerelia Rose. Absolutely love that one. And I love Arbor Vitae by Hohi. And those cables with the fringe are just so, so beautiful. So I bought that publication. And then I, of course, bought Knits About Winter. This is the most beautifully written book. The stories that are in here, the first, I would say, 20 or 30 pages, maybe 20, 25 pages, are about Emily's story. And it is so beautifully written. She writes in this endearing way that makes you feel like you could have had this same experience. I don't know, I just really love it. I am completely enamored by this shawl. What is it called? Snowdrift, that uses tons of mohair and squishy yarn, like mohair scraps, to make those stripes. It's stunning. Here's the picture of it. She's wearing it. I just think that would be an amazing study in texture and color. So I mean, look at this. It's just so dreamy. Like I said, I'm enamored by both of these books because of they're on, as far as the aesthetic spectrum, like night and day different, right? The thing that I love maybe the most about knitting books and publications, and these are good examples of it, but it could be any of a number of publications, is even if you don't, it's kind of like reading a real, like a novel, but if it's done well, they take a theme and they transport you to this place where you, even for a moment, feel like, you know, what would it be like to live there, or to experience that, or to be in that place. And both of these things do that. This takes you to, you know, Victorian, where the styles and these cables and texture, and where, you know, that is you know, what you would be wearing. And then you also are transported to Arctic cold Canadian tundra and living in the winter in this place and what that means. Yeah, it's just, like I said, even if I didn't knit anything out of either one of these books, just the experience of reading them and looking at them and for a moment living in the pages of these places is amazing. So I enjoy them for that. Shop update news. I have a couple of colorways that I think this one I have shown before. This is Evergreen. It's still in the shop. Let's see. That color right there is pretty accurate. It's a wintry green, so kind of bluish green with brown speckles. On sock, and I think I have it on, do I have it on? No, I don't have it on single ply. A couple of new colors that are in the shop that I haven't shown on the podcast before. This is called Party Punch, and it's kind of like, I wanted a holiday color that wasn't red and green, so I went pinky purple and green instead. This is Party Punch, and it's sort of this pinky purpley magenta swirl with a couple of different colors of green and blue and brown speckles, which I just think is so fun. I love it. Like, that one has a ton of speckles. So anyway, I'm really excited about this color. And then I also have, if you remember the color that I'm knitting my Bloomsbury cardigan or Bloomsbury sweater out of, it's not a cardigan. Bloomsbury out of is Cranberry. I think I finally named it Cranberry, and it's just this really pretty cranberry crimson red. And so I have it in the shop on DK and Sock, ready to ship. So if that is a color that you are looking for, I also added in some mohair on some different colors. I have kits for this in the shop. Yeah. I need to go because this is going to be extra long because I have all the footage from my trip. So I hope that you have a great week, and I hope to see you next week for sure, because I am going to attempt to do Vlogmas again. We'll see how many days I can keep up with. It's quite a lot of work. But until next time, I hope that you have a great time knitting, a great time crafting and doing all of the things that you enjoy. Bye, y'all. We're walking back to the hotel, the inn, I should say. It's so beautiful. The Pacific Northwest has totally stolen my heart, and I love it. I just want to keep coming back. see, here's the thing. There's so much prep that has to go into getting myself in the right angle and all the things. I'm sitting on a pillow on a short IKEA chair because IKEA furniture is made for gnomes. That's it. It's made for college people and gnomes that do not have creaky knees, achy backs, or any height of any kind. It's basically.